Well, that's better. Okay, here we are today in the craft room. Welcome to Happy Accident Studios Craft Room Live. Live. I'm Sai, and you're looking at my craft table at the moment, and it appears to be quite empty, and it's really not. Well, it's not about to be anyway. I've just come home from a 12-hour crop. And if you've never heard the word crop before, it is just a place where people go to scrapbook. It's kind of like a quilting bee or other type of thing. And it's called a crop because one of the things that we do in scrapbooking is crop photos or cut them down a little bit to get rid of any bad framing or any kind of, extraneous, how you get people in your photos you don't want and you can just chop off like an inch off one side and they're gone. That's cropping, in case you didn't know. So I am unpacking my bag, and while I was at that, I thought I would just show you what I tend to take with me. My phone's going mental on the other side of the room. I have no idea why. This is Mr. Owl. He just happened to fall into my bag with me, but this is where I keep all of my Zentangle pens. They're pigment ink pens for drawing and pencils. And I used to have some paper in there. I think my friend Frank just kind of stole it. So thanks, Frank. Anyway, let's see. Well, first of all, I have to put in a little bag of things that I quite often forget. And pretty much everything falls into that list, but these are the main culprits: pens, glue, dry adhesive, and usually there's a cutting knife and a pair of scissors in here. I don't know where they went, so time to repack the necessities bag anyway. And this, you've seen this before if you've watched the stream. It's one of my little boxes of glitter glue. Stickles glitter glue by Ranger, which is my favorite kind. This, for example, is the patina color. It's lovely. It's got all kinds of like verdigris, basically, colors in it. They come in a variety of different, they have different properties. Like some of the glitter is holographic, some of it isn't. Some of the pieces can be finer, some of them coarser. They've got all kinds of different properties, but those are the ones that I used this weekend. And this is a Martha Stewart punch around the page kit that has a border punch in it. It also has a corner punch in it, and they go together to make a frame. And I have used that a couple of times in the scrapbooking I did this weekend, so I'll show you what the result of that is. Another punch around the page set. I've noticed that these little plastic zipper containers that came with my craft tote, some of them are just the perfect size for little bits and bobs like this. It could not have been more perfect, in fact. It fits exactly. So, knowing that has put a whole new spin on my packing. Let's see. My quote-unquote scrapbook-friendly stamps are all in this box. And they are a selection of journaling boxes, because in scrapbooking we like to write the stories, or at least the names and dates behind the pictures. We like to put them on the page as part of the layout, so it's nice to have some little decorative but lined sections to write on. Also, plenty of alphabet stamps. You'll see where I've used some of these. I also like to carry with me some border stamps just to liven things up, and also some little flourishes and things like that, just to add little decorative touches to the pages. So I have a selection of those type of stamps in this box, and they don't leave this box. This is where they stay, so that I don't lose them and I don't forget them. I also packed a couple of acrylic blocks which are used to mount the stamps temporarily, and then you can store them flat. If you have any questions about stamping or scrapbooking, do please get in touch. I am always available. You can send me a message on Twitter. I am the same name as I am here on Twitch. And or you can leave me a YouTube comment if you're watching this on YouTube. I'm happy to answer any and all questions. Let's see what else I've got. I was very lucky. A friend of mine knows someone who works in a shop, and they accidentally got sent some of this canned repositionable glue. And so when they got in touch with the company to return it, they didn't really want it back. And they just thought, oh, okay, well, so they distributed it around, and I ended up on that supply chain. So I've got a new repositionable spray adhesive, which is going to be great as I use a lot of stencils. But I did not use any stencils in the scrapbooking I've done this weekend. So once I've unpacked all this stuff, I will show you what I've made with it. Let's see. What's next? I'm going to need both hands for this one. Quite a big one. This box contains die cutting supplies. I won't bother to show you with the machine. It's a little crank roller machine. It's called a Sizzix Sidekick. It's quite a simple one, and I am restricted to narrower designs with it, but it's alright. I've got plenty of them. These are some of the dies that I can use in the machine. Cut out lots of different leaf sprays and frames and butterflies and who knows what else. I've got loads here, just waiting for the perfect moment to be used. But there's plenty. And I certainly did get some use out of them this weekend. So I usually carry this box all like this. This is just an IKEA storage box. I believe it's called cassette, which is like, it's spelt a bit like cassette, like a tape cassette, but with a K and no E at the end. And I just have a little label on the front that says Sizzix, and that goes on the shelf. I will put that away in a minute. You're keeping me accountable here because I do have to put all this stuff away. That's why I'm getting it out. Okay. Also, my absolute staple for scrapbooking is colored cardstock, and this is the quite a popular brand. It's called Basil. And it's not too thin and it's not too thick, it's just perfect. Some of it's textured, some of it's smooth. There's several different textures and colors to choose from. There's 100 in here, which doesn't even scratch the surface of the colors available in Basil. So that gives you an idea. I was very, very lucky to get this from the range. They only had 2 packets left and one of them was damaged. And it was 100 sheets for £20, which works out to 20p per sheet. And if I need to order sheets on a single basis, I generally pay 50p a sheet for them. And that's at a shop with a very, very good price on it. A lot of people sell for more. So 20p a sheet was quite the bargain. I just have to find a project that each of these colors will go well with, and I will be in business. I also carry with me another craft mat, a bit like the one on the bottom here. This one is 12 by 12, so if I have to cut anything out on a scrapbook page, it can all fit on the mat. And I tend to keep it to sort of level out and protect my work surface anyway when I'm crafting in other places. So that comes along with me as well. This is just another sort of container of dies for my Sizzix Sidekick. These are quite long, and you can make really fun things with these. But also, other than the rosette die, which I have in here, I also have a couple of alphabets, and that's really what I get the most use out of. You'll see when I show you the pages momentarily. It's all coming up. It's coming up very soon. Obviously, my Cannot Live Without Craft Tool, the 12-inch straight line paper trimmer. All of this fits into one rolling case, and my particular rolling case comes from We Are Memory Keepers, and I absolutely love it. I think it's called the 360, but I'm not sure. Well, you saw that I had stamps, didn't you? I also have ink that I must bring with me, and for this, you've seen these before. These are my favorite at the moment. I have 36 colors of these Memento Dewdrop dye inks, and I have my handy dandy color chart here so that I can match them up to papers and photographs so that I can work out exactly what ink I need. and I always bring a black VersaFine pad. Now, VersaFine ink is it's a hybrid ink. I think it's there's a bit of oil in it, I think, you know. I don't know. It's not exactly a dye ink. It's not exactly a pigment ink, and it's not alcohol based, I don't think. So it's one of those crazy ones that's somewhere in between, but you know what? It works, and I wouldn't be without it. So that's the ink I carry with me on my scrapbooking journeys abroad. And when I mean abroad, I mean like East Sussex. I don't go far. And, oh, look at that. Yeah, I brought with me an additional baggie here full of more punches. I really do get a lot of use out of border punches and corner punches when I'm doing my scrapbooking. So that's what I bring mostly when I go out. And finally, the box. It's a very thin sort of plastic box, and these are really, really handy. I have probably about 5 of them, and I have many, many larger ones that I actually organized my home-based stash in. But I packed a selection of patterned papers the last several times that I've been scrapbooking, and I'm just working on the dregs of it now. And once I've killed this, as they say, I'm gonna repack this box with some more bits and see where it takes me. I'm trying to use my stash up because I've accumulated a lot of patterned paper and a lot of cardstock, so I'm just trying to match it all up, get it used, so that I can conduct my scrapbooking business in a smaller space and maybe buy some new stuff, because that always happens. Right, so here is what I made over the weekend. I've been working with pictures from my trip to America in 2012, and you can't see this in this light probably or anything, but this is a picture I took of a sign outside of a gym in Maynard, Massachusetts, and it says, "Spring has sprung, the grass has riz. Do you know where your swimsuit is?" I just thought, okay, that's a good one. So I took a picture of it, and I have scrapbooked it here with the title, "You Have Been Warned." So you'll notice, if you look really closely, that I've used some die-cut flowers here just to add a little bit of depth to the design there, and I've used the punch around the page kit to go around this photograph in a frame. And I've used one of my strips of die-cut letters. This is a Tim Holtz one. I think it's called Wanted Poster or something like that. And I used white cardstock onto a patterned background, and it didn't quite stand out as well as I'd hoped, so I drew around it with a black pigment pen. I do that quite a lot. I wasn't about to try it with these because I would have been there all day. I would have made loads of mistakes, and that would not have been cool. Not a good use of my time. So that's the first page I did, and here is the second. This is a picture of a lot of ladies in my family, and I wanted to make it one of those really sort of opulent looking sort of masterpiece type pages that you see in all the magazines and that, but I just ran out of steam. I haven't been scrapbooking very often lately, and I'm just not in the swing of things. But anyway, this one has got these flourishes stamped on it, and it does go all the way behind the photograph, not that it matters. And I used another punch around the page set to get to the corners and the nice sides to this picture. Some of my alphabet stamps came in very handy, along with some of my lovely inks. And these flowers at the bottom corner and the top corner were die cut. And I just threw a little bit of glitter into the middle of the flowers. But this particular one is a white glitter. I think it's called white corsage or something like that, and it's not meant to be a very glitzy sort of sparkly glitter. It's more of a sort of a vintagey, more muted feel, and I really liked that. And that's one of my die cut frames. I just put a little bit more information on it. So that is number 2. You recognize this girl. This is my daughter Victoria. I call her Vixie. And this page was absolutely whacked together on the fly with a bunch of coordinating stickers from Basic Gray. That's my favorite scrapbooking brand, other than Basil. I really rely on Basil and Basic Gray quite a lot. I just whacked all these stickers on. I knew what title I wanted, but I didn't have an S, so I just made it a funky spelling. Vixie knows how to party. And I just kind of, after I finished putting the title on, I thought there wasn't a lot of, you know, I don't know, there just wasn't much to it, so I thought I would doodle around some of the words a bit, and that did help ever so slightly. And that's really just it. You can almost not even tell that there's a bit of patterned paper under here, but it is there, and there's some here as well, but it's just hiding behind all those stickers. So that was fun. And while I was on the subject of that, I sort of did another one very similar with similar pieces of paper, and I just used a lot of scraps just here and there, kind of splashed around. Another sticker title, and it's all Basic Gray stickers, and I kind of balanced the page by putting small bits of the larger pieces in the same patterns up in the corner, and then I stamped all around the edge with one of my Basic Gray stamps. And that is a sticker because I dropped my ink pad right onto my layout when I was nearly done, and so I just stuck a big sticker on there to cover up the ink, and it actually looks like I meant to do that. So it helps as well that I put a few extra up here just to make it look like it was planned. So that is another one gone, and I believe this is the last one, and it was it the last one? Yeah, it's the last one that I did, because you know, sometimes when you're in a group of gals, you just get chatting and not a lot of work gets done. So this is the 5th page that I have to show for 12 hours of being there. Normally I'm quite quick. I used a lot of die cut shapes for this one, and I really loved this color pink with the purple, and it really coordinated with my Auntie Holly's dress, which is right there in the picture. So I just thought it really looked great. So it's grand entrance, and I covered like the back edge of the photo with a bunch of these little tiny die cut swirls, and then I just did the top and bottom of my Nana's picture there. But so that's another 5 pages down of this mammoth project that I've had going. Quite a lot of pages to do. I think it was over 50 when I started. So I am making my way there. I think I am down in sort of the last 10 layouts I need to do to finish the project. And once I have got it all sorted out about what goes up, what goes before and after this and that, I actually do have an album for it to go in. I did not pack this to bring with me, but I thought I might put it in this lovely butterfly album that I got from the range. This is a 1st edition album, Botanical Notes, and it is a standard 12 by 12 refillable scrapbook, but it's not a post-bound book. Now, a lot of the post-bound is an industry standard. They give you these metal posts, and they screw through all the pages and the spine of the book, and it is such a pain to take that thing apart and add more pages. So this book, I am glad to find out, if you open this, it is a snap load album. No posts to unscrew. You just snap this up like that. You take this off. It'll come off eventually, but I'm not going to do it here on the camera. But you just add your pages on, and you snap this all back on, and it closes up so nicely without too much effort, which is exactly what I need after years of faffing around with post-bound albums. So that was a little walkthrough of what I normally do. when I am scrapbooking. And I'm sure I've got loads and loads more to show you in that. I've got a blog. If you're watching this on YouTube, I will put a link to my blog in the description box so that you can go and look. And my blog is tagged with all the different subjects. So if you just click on the scrapbooking label, you'll be able to go straight to all my scrapbooking and have a look. My style is usually quite simple and quite quick. I don't like to over embellish because it makes the pages lumpy and then it's hard to close the album. But sometimes I do stretch my creative muscles and I actually do get something like that on the page. So stay tuned for that. I think that's all I've really got time for today. I'm running around and I really haven't. I've got to just put this stuff away and get on with the rest of my crafty day. So thanks for joining me. If you would care to watch it through again, sorry, it will be on the highlights section later on. And I'm losing my voice. Well, that was well timed. I'm off. Right. I will be back sooner rather than later with some more Craft Room Live. Thanks for joining me. Bye bye.